Hey y'all, it's your girl Miss Danny Baby with yet another video. How y'all doing? Hopefully everyone is doing well, getting their little exercise in, their nutrition, their love life, their financial life. I hope everybody is doing well. Today I wanted to speak on a topic that I think needs to be brought to the podium, you guys, and this is regarding childbirth. Yes, I said it, childbirth. Yo, this is the biggest fucking hustle that's been put on us, I'm telling y'all, for like since forever. Stop listening to your relatives, stop listening to your these fake friends, stop listening to the media, stop listening to these damn dudes. Please, we have to start paying attention to what we're doing when we're considering reproduction. And the reason why, I know I'm acting silly, but on a serious note, it's detrimental out here, ladies. There was a report, there's been some reports going on recently, within the last, I think since late last year, but it's been a known fact for a long time now, that the mortality rate for Black mothers has gone up astronomically. And it doesn't even matter like the academic bracket, the educational level. It doesn't even matter like the if you little, short, tall, your body size. It's really something detrimental going on when Black women are trying to reproduce. And it is my opinion that the universe is trying to tell us something. I said that once in another video back, I believe, when I was talking about that that fool that was trying to torch his house. He's the brother of that guy that got killed in California, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm going to post the links to a lot of these articles. But ladies, something really bad is happening with us trying to have kids. And we're trying to go against the grain when all the evidence is before you. Not only is the evidence before you as far as your mortality rate, and your babies are dying also, compared to your white and non-Black counterparts, but also the community is a wreck. Okay, having baby after baby after baby after baby is not going to it's not going to fix it. Now, for the young girls that are like have children, for the young girls that still desire to have children, I'm not trying to rain on anyone's parade. Okay, you can still have children, but first and foremost, you need to slow your roll. You need to plan your trajectory of when and how you're going to have children. And you need not have these children in the blind, because I'm telling you, these niggas is fooling y'all. They fooling y'all. They fooling y'all. You're being sold dreams that are going to make you the sacrifice. And I'm going to talk about that towards the end of this video, how the sacrifice is a detriment as a woman when you're made to believe that something miraculous or different is going to occur either in your life or in the community at large if you continuously have give birth. But in reality, all you're being used for is a sacrifice for other people, and that's a very bad energy to exist on, especially when you're talking about in a metaphysical sense. But anyway, this article here is showing us that it says Black women are 300% more likely to die from pregnancy and childbirth related causes than white women. Now, in other reports, a lot of people are reporting the 243%, but 243, 300, 333, what the fuck? It's all super, super bad. But the even scarier part is that Black women don't seem to recognize the danger that they're in, because they're fantasizing this thought of giving birth to something brand new. They feel as though as if they give birth and they have this little cute little brown baby, life is just gonna be all good, and everything will be well, and for most it is not. There's this article that has brought this to the forefront about this young lady. I'm gonna post it's a long read. It's a long article, I should say. It's not extremely long, like a long book or anything, but as far as articles go, it's kind of long, a few pages long. But it's telling us the story of this young lady, and I guess in mother birthing years, some people might have considered her old, because she's like in the mid-30s range, and a lot of people are under the preconceived notion that you should be having babies maybe like at 20, 21, 22. Quiet as kept, I beg to differ. You should wait long after your early 20s. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even want no babies in your 20s at all. Not unless you married to a fucking millionaire. But anyway, or a very, very, very successful person that you're partnering with, co-parenting with, and partnering with, and that you chose to be the father of your child. And Black women especially, we think, as long as we have the degrees, as long as we go to school, as long as we get the good job, which is ridiculous. Don't get me started. As long as we get the good job, all is going to be good in the neighborhood as far as giving birth. But as this woman's story shows us, that's often not the case. Her name is Shalon Irving, and she was from Georgia. Very beautiful, pretty girl. I think this is her mom right here. And she always wanted children, okay? And let's face it, ever since childhood, we're groomed we're groomed on that sacrificial type of energy. We're groomed to take care of babies, be nurturing. I mean, we're 2 years old in diapers, and the first thing that's thrown at us is like a baby doll, some kitchen utensils, something on how to bake, cook, clean house, and rear children. Those are the more common staples as far as like what we're given as children, as far as gifts are concerned. But this lady's story is so tragic, because not only is she part of that 243% of women that are dying either during or right after childbirth and having major complications, she was a woman that was, achieved in many ways. Let me see if I can find the part here where it gave her. Look at this. Look at her credentials. She was an epidemiologist for the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, the preeminent public health institution in the U.S. And later in the article, it talks about how she worked with HIV patients, disadvantaged youth, girls. I mean, she was definitely that woman that was very caring to those, her community around her. But it just seemed like love and romance was something very hard for her to capture. And she wasn't sure if she was ever going to be able to have children, because she had female issues like fibroids. She had a history of blood pressure problems and some other inherited type of condition that she had that she didn't realize until later. So, while she was waiting to find the man of her dreams, this girl just, went to school and went the route of trying to be the most successful person that she could be in the job market. So look at her. She had a BA in sociology, 2 master's degrees, dual subject PhD, And, you know, dual subject PhD, like, seriously? This is her little baby. She ended up going out of town. I forget what island it is. Like I said, I'm going to post the link to the article. I'm not going to read to you guys like you're 3-year-olds, but she went out of town on vacation, met up with a guy, and ended up getting pregnant. Ding, ding, ding. That's another thing that we're kind of careless. We kind of let pregnancy happen to us. Like, especially the younger women, we don't know the dangers of pregnancy, and being lonely and wanting that companionship, and compounding with that really, 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 really super bad in the heart of hearts and your deepest, darkest mind, you really, really, really want a child. These type of women are very, very vulnerable to just letting pregnancy happen to them, not taking the appropriate precautions. She was getting in the middle 30s, so she really wanted a child, but damn, she wasn't married. She wasn't sure about her romantic relationship, but she definitely wasn't going to be one to abort. We could see that. But you know, pregnancy happened to her, and she had all these complications. And look at these stats here. Black women face significantly higher maternal mortality risks. 44 deaths per 100,000 live births. Look at this big dark green blue line compared to the light blue line of white women, and also a light blue line of women of other races. It's not just a conspiracy, y'all, of white folks coming in to kill all the black mothers and stuff. They might not give a damn because they're not black, you know, and I wouldn't expect them to really care the same as they would their own mothers and their own sisters, their own aunties, but it's no secret that a lot of black mothers have not had the appropriate type of health care, I should say, before, during, and after pregnancy due to financial reasons. But even women like this woman here, she was accomplished. She did have insurance and still end up perishing. Had a stroke like a couple weeks after having her baby. So it's not just economic factors. It's not just the boogeyman white people. We need to get off of that. I'm serious. It's spiritual and physical. It's mental, physical. It's psycho spiritual, and it's also just physiological. It's all like combined and interconnected, because we do have a lot of overweight women and young girls in our community. I hate to say our community because I don't feel connected to a group of people that are so nonchalant and uncaring about the womanhood that surrounds them and that are dying before their very eyes. My empathy button is on like in negative numbers right now because I see how this is playing out, but I want the younger women to be aware. And even if you're older, I'm telling you, oops babies can happen. Even if you're coming to the end of your motherhood years, be careful, guard that womb. I don't even care if you're married. Don't have unplanned pregnancies. It puts too much stress upon you, and you're probably going to put yourself at risk for having a difficult pregnancy, labor, childbirth, motherhood, etc., etc. It's telling you here. Okay, back to what I was saying. I was talking about right here. it's just showing you the different little statistics, like black mothers in the US die at 3 to 4 times the rate of white mothers, which is one of the widest of all racial disparities of women's health. She's 22% more likely to die from heart disease, 71% more likely to perish from cervical cancer, but 243 motherfucking percent more likely to die from pregnancy or childbirth related causes. So answer me, why are y'all so hype on giving birth? Like, it's a hustle of all hustle. These guys have gotten you gassed. Your family members have gotten you gassed. Even some family members will try to guilt you into having children if you don't have them, like in your early 20s and whatnot. People will ask you, like, you got 3 heads, why don't you have children? Or can you explain to me why you didn't have none? What's going on? Are you able to have some? Like, really? Black chicks are some of the most fertile, if not the most fertile creatures on the goddamn planet. So it's not about being able to, it's should you. And I'm not moved by all that guilt type of programming that, you know, this community tries to put on women. As a little girl, as much as I adored infants and toddlers, I was always that little kid that loved to play with babies and things like that. But hearing the horror stories about having children and how babies actually got here, I'm telling you the honest to goodness truth. Ever since I was a youngster, I was always afraid of it. Always. When I got older, you know, it was kind of like reconsidering, like, maybe I will, might try it at least once. But, because that is a spiritual contract, whether you guys know it or not. Not only are you at risk being a black woman trying to have a baby in this paradigm physically, you could actually die trying to bring in this life into this realm, but it's a spiritual contract. Once that baby gets here and you pass it out of your womb, whether it's vaginally or C-section or however it gets here, you're bound to it. So go into that carefully. Do not take it lightly. And don't let the naysayers hate on you about taking birth control, about getting your birth control shot, your patch, your IUD, use the rhythm method, your condoms. Don't give every single Tom, Dick, and Harry access to your womb. And if need be in an emergency situation, I even condone women exercising freedom of choice to terminate a pregnancy. Okay? This is all before the baby gets here. But once it's here, yo, you've bound yourself to this entity. And all the while this black community sit back and laugh at your ass for being so gullible. Think about it. It's gullibility, because they know the odds are not in your favor. They know if anything goes wrong, they're going to blame you for it. 9 times out of 10, the man is not going to be held to the same standards of accountability as you are as the mother. You're the one that's changing diapers. You're the one that has to civilize this human being to make them be able to succeed and be able to thrive in this world. And black women have been so burdened with this responsibility over and over and over and over again, overwhelmed. Back in the day, women, black females were having babies in their early teens. Grandmothers, it wasn't unheard of back in the day for grandmothers to have had 10, 12, 15 kids. You not raising 10 or 12 or 15 kids, right? It takes damn near a year just to give birth to one. Why are y'all fooling yourselves? And then you wonder why you stroking out while trying to bring a baby into this world, why your blood pressure is going up. To give you a little short story, when my mom, and this is one of the things that really sealed the deal. They probably should have never told me this story. But my mom, when she was pregnant with me, and she had me as an older teenager, okay? But when she was pregnant with me, she's very athletic, slim and trim, in shape, whatever, middle class background, whatever. But lo and behold, she still was not taken to the doctor as much as she should have been, because the family was shamed that she actually got pregnant early. Okay? And so she went through trauma trying to bring me here. And that's the problem with a lot of Black mothers. They go through this trauma trying to bring these babies here, and then they end up resenting their own kids. When actually her mother, my grandmother, should have been on her and given her the tools to protect her womb at an early age. Now, her and my dad did marry, but that trying to marry and have a household without the tools to actually make it work. Very emotionally immature, the both of them. But anyway, the story was that she had toxemia, and these days they call it preeclampsia. They're kind of like interchangeable. I'm not a doctor, but she had this situation where her blood pressure skyrocketed. And by the time she was ready to give birth to me, I turned a breech at the last minute. And she said I was a huge baby, like 9 pounds or something, or 8 pounds, like close to 9. But my mom was thin when she was having me. This huge baby up inside of her, turning breech at the last minute. She gave the story of some big man doctor having to go in there and try to turn me around, and how it was just excruciating. She was screaming to the top of her lungs. Her blood pressure shot through the roof. Her kidneys started bleeding. She blacked out. Okay. Went unconscious. They didn't know if me and her or either one was going to survive the ordeal. Okay. And she woke up about 2 weeks later. She couldn't see me till I was like close to 2 weeks old. Okay. And part of that, in my personal belief, it was her body rebelling about this situation that she knew she was not prepared for. She knew she had got herself caught up with a male that was not prepared to step up as a dad the way that he was supposed to. And my mom she wanted to experience this world. And a baby early in life put a halt on a lot of shit. It's not my fault. I've come to terms with that, but the mother doesn't see it that way. A lot of times these mothers take it out on their kids and just let life happen to their children because they're mad and upset that they took on the burden of motherhood before their time. As another wise woman said on here when she used to be on YouTube, having a baby out of season. That's what that is. Having a baby out of season, way before your time. And sometimes your psychological frame of mind and your spiritual frame of mind can manifest in the physical. And I think that's what her body was doing. I mean, think about it. Don't get to see your baby till it's about 2 weeks old. You black the fuck out. Kidneys bleeding. You can't pass the baby. She said my dad acted a fucking donkey while she was pregnant, saying all kind of slick shit, you know, to make her feel inferior and insecure. Yeah, that's you, black men. And it's crazy because, you know, later on down the line, years later, not to give my whole life story, but years later, I'm talking to, this is after I'm married and everything. My daddy like, when you gonna have a baby? I just laugh like, what? Yeah, when you gonna have a baby? You done had your shape long enough. Peep that. When you gonna have a baby, you done had your shape long enough. Cause God knows this community don't want these highfalutin females out here thinking they the shit. And that can come even from your dad. Rest his soul, I love my daddy, but he definitely has some flaws. I'm just gonna put it that way. And to him, as a woman, especially a black woman, okay, especially a brown-skinned black woman, you ain't supposed to be up here acting like you had all kind of options and opting out of motherhood. And at the time back then, back when he said that, I was still kind of considering it, but just still the thought of what my mom went through, and not just her, my sister. Oh my God, I could tell y'all some stories. And then seeing my mom's bad choices in men way after I was born, and it's just a clusterfuck of bullshit. But to me, motherhood was always a big deal. And I was determined I was not going to do it and stress the fuck out under any circumstances, okay? If I can't lay up and be the princess and queen of the ball while I'm trying to bring fucking life here and be well pampered and taken care of without fearing for my life, thinking I'm gonna die during the process, you kiss my ass with it. That's where I'm at. However, for the young women, like I was saying before, the very young that still see pregnancy and motherhood in their futures, it's okay to do so. Make sure that you're in very good shape. That's not a guarantee that you'll have a problem-free pregnancy and delivery, but it lessens your chances of problems if you're in shape. You're not overweight. Make sure that your financial situation is taken care of. You guys, peep it. It takes close to $300,000 just to raise a baby from birth to adulthood. And when I say adulthood, I'm talking like 18, not 21, not 25, and that's not even counting college. That's just birth to high school is close to $300,000. Do you have $300,000? Do you have health insurance for your baby? Do you have a fund for them to go to college? Is your man, the guy that you're partnered with, is he supportive? Does he has an insurance policy just in case something happens to him? Are you going to be able to stay home as a mom if you want to give that baby every bit of attention and nurturing that it deserves? And are you going to be well watered and taken care of? Because if you're not, you're going to resent that kid, and then that kid is going to have issues. And God knows how your labor is going to be. So it's not to scare you, it's to make you think. Don't let these dudes get you hype about having babies before your time. Because yeah, these dudes will get you hype, and before you know it, you got 5 or 6 kids by 3 or 4 different baby daddies. And the world is laughing at you and using you as a stereotype. Don't let them use you as a stereotype. Don't let them pressure you into it because of religion. Don't let anybody pressure you into motherhood because of some social justice worrying nonsense, talking about breeding for the revolution, which is laughable. Black women have been breeding since forever. And in the 2000s, I'm telling you, that's not what's up at all. I know younger people tend to think that people that are a little older than them are just paranoid or just scary and that they know better. But I'm telling you, it's not what you think. And I'm not saying I've always done every single thing right, but I've always been one that was kind of scary. So if I hear the worst case scenario, I'm kind of veering to the other side or a different direction when I hear worst case scenario situations. I'm not one of those super duper hard headed. I'm not saying I've never been hard headed, but I'm not super duper hard headed when it comes to something I think that's going to harm me. When they think about it, I'm not trying to be shallow, but when it comes to beauty in this paradigm, it shouldn't be this way, but it is. So your beauty is currency. If you only 25 years of age and got 4 kids with stretch marks up and down your belly, your ass, your hips, and your titties, got bladder problems because you've had a child, just all kind of things that it does to your body, to your mind. You're made the sacrifice, and nature made it that way on purpose. To a degree, the mother has to bend and bow to that sacrificial energy in order to sustain her young. If you think about it, think her breasts are enough to feed the baby. So that baby, even though it's innocent, it's almost kind of like a little parasite. You know, you gotta give it milk from your body. It's even a parasite before it gets here, but that's not the baby's fault. And if you're in a good situation and you're being, like I said, well watered, it's okay to have a little parasitic little booger bear there where you can help it to thrive. But when that sacrificial energy becomes toxic, where it's turning you inside out and you don't even know who you are anymore, and then the world is pointing the finger and making you the poster child for depravity and failure and poverty, and then the men in your clan co-sign it and are laughing with the rest of the world, you look very stupid. You look very stupid. You look very stupid. That's all I'm saying. Pregnancy, especially for Black women, I'd go as far as saying for any woman, but especially for Black chicks, it's a hustle. It's a hustle. And if you were a man, can you blame them? I mean, they don't want you to start thinking like, nah, I'm gonna calm down on all of that and slow down your baby making. But think about it. If you slow down baby making, the ones that you did have and did allow into this realm would be considered more worthwhile. They will be considered more precious, and people would take you more seriously. But with you breeding like livestock, like rabbits and cows and gerbils and shit, nobody's taking you seriously. You have to get your life together and don't let because it's a gift. A baby is a gift to a man, and every man is not worthy. That's just hands down. I don't care what color he is. Every man is not worthy. And I wanted to get briefly into the spirit of sacrifice. And like I said, on some level it's needed, but in other levels, this, especially in this narcissistic world where we have so many vampires roaming around, they'll play you. It could be in a romantic situation, it could be family, people, but people will play you. The ones that are closest to you will play you the most. Okay, you gotta not let people take from you undeserving, especially if it's not your child. Who the fuck is a grown motherfucker trying to come up off of you? And I'm not just talking about financially, but I'm talking about sexually, mentally, spiritually, all of that. When you give somebody reassurance, that's using your your spiritual and mental currency. And then you giving them some sex and some babies on top of it, girl. Bye. Stop that. It's making you look real foolish. And I'm telling you, this Hotep civil rights Eldridge Cleaver type movement just got sisters in a quandary that they can't seem to bring themselves out of, and they're raising their young to be suckers. Nobody's preparing the young girls. The young girls are actually fooled out here. But look at this article here where it's talking about, it's not this one, it's this one, the sacrifice of serving. Now, this particular woman wrote this article telling you all the good and why it's dignified and it makes you righteous on sacrificing. And she's also playing into that nurturing role that women have been accustomed to playing. Okay, women naturally in most cases have a nurturing instinct because we do bring life here. We are the veil that a child must pierce through in order to get from one realm to the next. So it's important that we do have some nurturing energy within us in order to sustain and maintain that life once it gets here. However, people have been playing us because of this nurturing energy, especially in the Black community, and you have to guard your nurturing instinct and be careful not to give it to people that are undeserving. But look at this chick here. She's telling you, and I'll link the article so you can see it in its totality, but she's telling you how righteous it is to serve. And that Bible and other religious books, not just the Bible, but a lot of religious books will train the mind on how righteous it is to serve and to give and give and give and give. I'm telling you, fuck that. If it's going to ruin you. Because there is no universe without you. You have to be taken care of first and foremost. And then after you are stable, then you can decide if you want to sacrifice and give to others. But your time, look at this community. They expect time out of you as a woman. Your kids are endless portals of vampiric energy. They don't mean to be, but it's just the nature of the game because they're defenseless. And so they have to take your time. They have to, mommy. They're going to come to you in a lot of cases before they come to dad. And so that's draining. So again, ladies, you have to consider this before having children. Appear, sacrifice of your energy. Like I said, them kids, portals of energy. Niggas, portals of energy. I shouldn't say niggas, I should just say men. Romantic partners, friends, family members. Can you do this? Can you stop over there? Can you go get this? Can you do this? It'll wear you out. Before you know it, you got bags hanging to the concrete. Your body is tired. You're dehydrated because you're giving energy to everyone but yourself. And we all know with the money game how that is. We see it in the entertainment industry, how they take for granted the sacrifice and the support of Black women. and they take the money. Preachers, they take the money, and you feel like you just a righteous, upstanding, classy woman because you giving and you giving and you giving. You's a dumbass, because in a lot of cases, I'm not saying all of you, but in a lot of cases, if you're not, why are you buying the preacher a new car when your electric bill ain't even paid? When your son ain't even got jeans without holes in them to go to school? This sister had posted a video. It was of some school. Where was this? I forget what city it was. But this principal, it was kids that was skipping out on school in high school because their moms didn't have enough money to take them to the laundromat to wash their clothes, so they was getting made fun of. When they were coming to school, called other kids were saying they were stinky and smelly. So the principal, bless his heart, he came up with the idea to turn one of the locker rooms into a laundromat, a free laundromat, where they got donations of laundry powder and washing powder for the kids, so that they could wash their clothes in the early evening hours, because their moms didn't have enough money. But guess where a lot of their moms was probably giving money without question? The church. Probably some preacher somewhere or some dude somewhere. But can't even see, it's unfair to bring babies here and you can't give them the lifestyle that they're entitled to. So no baby shouldn't have to go without having its clothes washed, without a struggle. Your damn principal gotta buy a laundry room just so you can wash for your kids. That's unrighteous. It's ungodly. It's wrong. So a lot of you that think you're being righteous and upstanding just because you're going giving the preacher money, but your kids can't even get their clothes washed, and you too busy to even be bothered with it because you're working 2 or 3 jobs to maintain. No, sister girl, you're doing all bad. Sacrifice of talent. I notice even on YouTube, a lot of sisters use their talent to support entities and energies that don't benefit them. Also, sacrifice of talent also could be like in a situation like I mentioned where my mom, she had babies out of season, and my mom is an artist, a prolific, a really good artist. She even went to art school, and couldn't do as much with it. I mean, it still ain't over for her, but I'm just saying she should have been way ahead of the game by now in her life, but had to sacrifice that because she got into a situation that she did not prepare for. And that's something you don't want to do. End up older, decades later, and not just bitter, because people are overusing that word bitter, but bitter is true in a lot of cases, but regretful. That's the word, just full of regret and wishing upon a star. You don't want to be that chick. And the last point here, sacrifice plans. And that's in the same sphere of sacrificing of talent, sacrificing your life plans and your life goals. That's not good. That's not where it's at. Regardless of what this chick, this really religious biblical person that has wrote this article, she's trying to convince you how the good of sacrificing, but I'm just trying to show you the other side. Sacrificing too much can actually harm the soul and be bad for you, and you're not experiencing and learning the life lessons that you're supposed to because you've went the wrong way. Okay, sacrificing just for the point of sacrifice is not righteous. It's not godly. It doesn't make you more wholesome or more quote unquote woke. it actually just makes you dumb. Think about it. Okay, before I go, the last point in closing that I would like to make is that another big factor in why, to me, it makes sense for sisters to actually slow down their birthing and to reconsider. Even some of us need to opt out of motherhood altogether. And just because you opt out of motherhood doesn't mean that you can't be create a creative force in other realms of or other areas of your life. But one major factor is because for something as serious as having a 243% mortality rate compared to any other group of women in this country, and nobody's raising a ruckus, or very few people are raising a ruckus, that's an absolute slap in the face, and it's a sign of apathy, neglect, and a spirit of not really giving a damn. Just have the baby, bitch, and shut the fuck up and eat your food. It's sad. I laugh, but you have to laugh to keep from crying, I swear. And it's people like this congressman who's actually a Kennedy, some young white dude who's speaking on subjects like this more than actual black people. Why is that? I'm gonna play a little bit here and let you see how he's bringing this issue to the forefront.
In 2018, the United States of America has the highest rate of maternal deaths in the developed world. Every single year, we mourn roughly 700 mothers who are lost to complications during their pregnancy. And at least 350 of those deaths are preventable. Most alarmingly, profound racial disparities persist in these statistics. Black women today are 3 to 4 times more likely to die of pregnancy or delivery complications than white women. Before we try to explain that away on socioeconomic terms, just access to care, access to education, higher income, we have to be clear that even when you control for those factors, a wealthy black woman with an advanced degree is still more likely to die or to have a baby die than a poor white woman without a high school diploma. In the United States, a black woman is 22% more likely to die from heart disease than a white woman, 71% more likely to die from cervical cancer. Those are haunting statistics, but they still pale in comparison to the one we discussed here today. For black women are 243% more likely to die from pregnancy or childbirth-related causes. 243%. So we can't have a discussion about how to address a larger crisis in maternal mortality without having a discussion about how to confront the pervasive systemic inequities that are buried deep within our system of healthcare in America.
And this cat, he's wanting to bring to the forefront on how healthcare is really needed by black women, because a lot of black women are having babies and they can't afford the maternity care that they need. So that was the whole point of him, bringing this to the issue. But being that this community wants all these soldiers and don't want you exercising your right or your right to refuse, some cats not only don't want you having abortions, they don't even want you taking birth control. Like, really? But they're not willing to not have sex with you. But that's a whole nother show. I'm not even getting into that, the politics of that. But look at it. Look it, as some people from Jersey might say. Look it. Who's making the big fuss? Especially from your male counterpart, ladies. This is something to think about. You don't want to be like the sister here that I brought up earlier in the video from Georgia, with all the degrees and the good job, beautiful and vibrant as ever, but having a hard time just securing a dependable love interest, and also putting herself at risk for actually possibly dying and leaving her baby behind because of health issues. It's not a game. It's not a game. Being a mom is a serious, serious matter. It's not a game. Look at her when she was in the military. Just as vibrant, pretty girl. This is her after she had her baby. Look at her with her newborn, letting her suckle to her breast, to her bosom. I'd have never, you couldn't have told me that she was going to be near death and die just like 2-3 weeks later after this photograph. You couldn't have told me. So we need to take it seriously since we're the ones that bring babies here. Technically, I could still bring one here, but like I said, it's a hustle, and not in this lifetime. Maybe in the next one, or 2 lifetimes, 3, 10 lifetimes from now, 50,000 years in another world or something. Maybe I want to be a mom, but I see the hustle for what it is. And also it gives you busy work where you can't ascend to other levels of consciousness in a lot of cases. That's not for everybody, but in a lot of cases, Black mothers can't because they're too busy just trying to survive. And that's the place that unfortunately a lot of people want to see you end. Even your own mother. Even the other females in your family, they see you free, or what they perceive as freedom because you don't have children, and they struggling or got 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 babies. They're going to, it's just going to hit them, and they're going to, a lot of cases are going to have very negative emotion towards you, and you'll be able to feel it. That's a painful place to be at when people that are supposed to love you or have concern for you, especially the mother that gave birth to you, but she's hating because she decided to have you before her time, you know. And then last point, being that the sexual abuse rates are so high in the Black community, 60%. Some say estimates are higher than that, but this is just what they pretty much know about. There's at least a 60% rate of girl children being raped or molested before their 18th birthday. So there's a high experience rate with being tampered with sexually in this community. And by the time these same abused children reach adulthood, they're more likely to have a traumatic experience during childbirth than a woman who has not been tampered with and who's had a healthy sexual come to awareness in her lifetime. And there was a whole study on it. I'll link the article here. Sexual trauma in labor when survivors give birth. It's very sad. But they say that the experience of birth is like being violated all over again, because for one, you got these weird folks that you either don't know, or if you do know them, you're not comfortable with them seeing you naked, touching your body's doing things that you're unfamiliar with. You're in this excruciating pain, all these lights and strangers and talk of surgery. In some cases, it's just a violation of your personal and private self all over again. And they say if you've been sexually violated as a child, then you're more likely to have a traumatic experience, especially if you don't get the help and healing that you need. So for sister girls out there that have experienced the trauma of rape and molestation, even if family members didn't believe you, please get help. Please talk to somebody. It was not your fault, okay? It doesn't mean that you can't have a happy and healthy marriage and child later on when you're prepared and older, later down the line, and you get yourself together. But you don't want to have a baby unprepared, without the financial backing, without the education, without the security, and compounded behind that trauma, PTSD, and drama behind being taken advantage of when you was a little shorty. This is real shit that people are afraid to talk about. And I'm tired of it, and I'll speak on that in another video. I'm tired of hiding the bones for these people in the Black community. I'm tired. And that goes for family members, goes for friends. Excuse me, I'm drinking my wine, but I'm tired of these fake people, this fake concern for the health, the well-being of Black women, the purposeful manipulation and setting them up for failure, people coercing you. Like I said, your own mom, your own dad, everybody's telling you to have a bunch of babies, even though you're not mentally ready. Hell, you can spend a whole lifetime not being ready because of some shit that happened to you when you were smaller. Okay? And it's not your fault. You're not obligated to birth for this race. Let me say that again for the people in the back row. You are not obligated to birth for this race. What you have to do is get yourself together. Healthy women is a way better prospect than damaged women birthing and raising damaged children. Damaged and broken children. Okay? So that's just my word, y'all. Be blessed without stress. And as this one dude said in this video, I'm gonna upload. I hope I get to it tonight. But y'all see it. But on Labor Day weekend, I interviewed like this homeless guy, and he had this little saying: be blessed, free of stress, don't take no mess. It was something. It was kind of cute, but that's a whole nother show. But in other words, I hope you guys are doing well. Take the wisdom with this message. You don't have to agree with every single tidbit, but take the wisdom for what it is, and think about your life choices, and don't let nobody hustle you or trick you and into misusing, abusing, or sacrificing your womb for some fake ideals. Okay? Love you guys. Talk to you later.